Hey guys, I'm Matt.
And I'm James.
We're from the band ViFolly, and first off, I'd like to thank Pure Mix, Focal, and Indaba for choosing our song Face Your Fear or Die for the remix contest.
And a big shout out to Shane from NZT Labs for making the lyric video for this song.
We received a lot of emails about the writing and recording process of the song and what the mood is about, so we thought we'd shed some light on the subjects.
How all this came about was a movie producer called us and asked us to write a song for a horror movie called You Found Me, but he only gave us little details like there was a knife scene and a car chase, and that the killer liked to play a game called Face Your Fear or Die.
So with very limited information, we had to try and come up with the song, and it had to be called Face Your Fear or Die. So we came up with the idea of writing our own horror story. And we've seen plenty of horror movies, so we kind of take bits and pieces of the movies we've seen and try and make it our own. So that's where the chorus came in. The chorus came first, and I wrote it about a guy with a knife, tries to break into this house in the dead of night, in the middle of night. And wanted to play this little game he calls Face Your Fear or Die.
And of course, then it was up to me to write the verses, which when I came into track, they didn't fit. The melody or the lyrics, neither of them fit. So I rewrote them, and then I rewrote them again, and I did that for another 2 or 3 times until finally everything clicked and everything sounded great. And then it was time to
record the entire song. And then after we record the demo, we send it off to Fab, and then he has some ideas and some changes that he thought might work, and then
he's always right, almost always.
And then that's where we'll get into the recording process. The recording process started at Flux Studios in New York City with drums, spending about an hour and a half getting drum tones, tuning up the drums, choosing microphones, mic placement. I think we went through like 3 different snare mics for the song, just getting that right snare sound. And then running those mics through Fab's amazing vintage Neve board. And then spending about an hour actually tracking drums and getting the right parts down. Alright, so after we get the drums tracked the way we want them, we bring the files back to Ash and Dust, our studio, and that's when we start recording some bass. We usually start with a DI track reamped with a bass plug-in or something like that, and a Sans amp for some crunch, and a distorted track, usually a guitar amp we have lying around or something, running through a 412 cab, mic'd up with a 57 or 421, or I don't know, like to experiment. And we'll usually spend about 3 or 4 hours just getting tones and tracking, making sure the bass is locked right in with the drums and making sure the fills are right. And that's about it for bass.
So after bass, we'll do guitars next. And on one side, we'll usually start off with our go-to rhythm amp, the Phantom by Diamond. And we'll run that through a Diamond 412 cab. And I think we mic'd it with Cascade ribbon and SM57. And on the other side, we used PV6505 and ran that through a Mesa 412 and mic'd it with an SM57 and a 421.
Usually those microphones go through our Universal Audio 4710 preamps, and 2 microphones go through the Dangerous 2-bus to Summum, and then I'll run that one track through a Neve preamp to give it some extra beef, because I love the way the Neve preamp does to guitars. And we'll record both sides that way, so it comes out, one track on each side. I know it kind of limits the mixer, but I like committing to guitar tracks. So after rhythm guitar tracks, we usually jump into vocals, and we'll usually use our SE Electronics Z5600 microphone, or sometimes a C414 or something, but it's usually the 5600. I think it sounds awesome. And that will go through one of our universal audio preamps, or a Neve preamp, or something like that, running through a compressor of some sort, like a Dangerous or something. And for background vocals, we'll use a 414 or sometimes like a 421 or something crazy to give a different flavor. And we'll usually spend, I don't know, a few hours doing vocals, comping, and, different takes. For verses, we usually do single tracks for the most part. We won't really double sometimes, but not most of the time. And for choruses, it's almost always 4 tracks, or 8 sometimes. I don't know. Depends what Fab wants. And for background vocals, it's usually just a single track, not usually doubled. And that's about it for vocals.
So the final step would be guitar leads and keys. On guitar leads, we normally run through a Diamond Phantom, or a Black Star Series 1, or the occasional Mesa Bookie.
And for leads, we usually mic 57 or 421, or sometimes both, it depends. And that could take a few days, because we'll track a guitar lead, we'll jump to a synth, try and find the right synth that's for the song, jump back to a guitar lead, maybe change a guitar lead, do something else, add another guitar lead, I don't know, maybe add another guitar rhythm track right up the middle. It depends on the song. And James usually does most of the guitar tracking, and I'll usually engineer on the computer. Just better workflow. I usually engineer anyways, so it's smoother. And then after we get all that done, we'll send it to Fab. He might have some more changes, maybe change a guitar lead or something, I don't know, or add some more vocals or something. And then we'll send it back, get his approval, and then that's where Fab mixes the final mix, and then usually masters it himself. And then that's when you guys get to hear it. So there you have it. I hope that's answered some of your questions and given you an insight to the writing and recording process of our song, Face You Fear or Die. And thanks once again to Pure Mix, Folk Out, and Endaba for choosing our song for the mixing contest.
And stay tuned for our new single called Indestructible, coming out real soon. Thanks for watching.